All right. As promised, I told y'all once I get the 4 set, I will do a Destro guide for you. And ladies and gentlemen, did we get the 4 set? All right, so we're just going to go over a little bit of brief information that you will need to know in order to get the biggest bangs out of your 4 set. You can play with the 2 set, but it's just better with the 4 set. It's a lot cleaner it goes. And I'll show you like sequences and how to like get off the big burst. But we're going to go over like talents, legendaries, conduits, so on and so forth. But yeah, let's just jump straight into the video. We're going to go straight into the actual talents that we're going to be playing. So I have a lot of people asking me to play Eradication. First talent, I always like Flashover. And if you don't know what Flashover does, it gives you an extra charge of Backdraft, and it increases your conflag damage by 25%. And Backdraft, for the people that do not play Destro, this is actually what it does. Conflag reduces the cast time of your next Incinerate or Chaos Bolt by 30%. You can have up to 4 charges of this. So every time that you conflag, it hits 25% harder, and it gives you 2 charges of Backdraft, which is really, really clean for the big goes that you're gonna have. Now, second talent, Reverse Entropy. It is, I like it more whenever I play Night Fae, and I like Shadow Burn whenever I play Necrolord, because I have all the extra haste from having the Decaying Soul Satchel's legendary for my Court of Unity, because I'm playing Night Fae Destro. But if I'm playing Necro Destro, I do really, really like the Shadow Burns, like the extra shards that you spin, and it really helps with the synergy of the 4 set and spending shards, so that you're able to get some big damage out of it. And now this talent, it's the same as before. Dark Pact, pretty much baseline, because there's a lot of bursty classes in the game where you can't really just get away with not playing Dark Pact, because there's so much damage in the game. Like whenever your healer eats a CC, Dark Pact at 100% health, so that you get the most absorption out of it. So the healer doesn't have to try to play like a makeup game to get back to get you back up to health. So you don't have to spend a lot of mana. So Dark Pact overall is probably just the best. Cataclysm, I feel like it's just a baseline talent. You're not going to play these two. These are more of like a Inferno's like a PvE Mythic Plus build. And Cataclysm overall, whenever things get behind a pillar, you throw a Cataclysm on them. It can hit pretty hard, and it puts the Immolates on them so you get the extra shard generation. For Destro, you're never going to spec out a Mortal Coil, because you have the Havoc windows. So you'll Havoc a target, and then you'll double Mortal Coil, so that you're able to crowd control 2 targets, and you're able to get your Chaos Bolts off in that window. And I'll explain to you that in just a second. Now this one right here, this row is actually, you can play all 3 of these. I play all 3 of these sometimes. If I'm playing against like an Affliction Warlock or an LE or something that kills my pet really easily, I'll look at playing Grimoire Sacrifice, so I still keep my interrupt. I get a little bit of damage out of it. The only downfall to that is like if you're fighting an LE, LEs can kill your pet really easily, but they can also lightning lasso you, and you can't interrupt it, because the stun is then on you, not on your pet. Reign of Chaos with the 4 set is pretty insane. So like whenever you're proccing those 8-second blasphemies, those 8-second blasphemies can also proc Infernals. So like every single soul shard you spend, once you have that blasphemy up, you can get some really, really big pad AoE damage out on a team behind a pillar. I've actually killed teams behind pillars with this talent with the 4 set. Roaring Blaze, it's a baseline 25% increased damage. Pairs really well with Flashover. I think overall this is probably your best talent. But I personally prefer the Reign of Chaos. Last talent, you don't even look at these two, is Dark Soul Instability always. Now, depending on what I'm fighting, I'm going to be playing Demon Armor. If I'm playing a caster, so if this is just strictly 2s for right now. If I'm playing a caster, obviously I'm going to switch to like another ward, or I could maybe pick like a DPS upgrade, like a Fell Fissure or so on and so forth, whatever. Bonds of Fell, I really like Bonds of Fell actually. Bonds of Fell does a lot of damage too. So like Bonds of Fell, it says 10,000, but I've crit Bonds of Fells for 28,000 just from having Dark Soul up, because it does scale with modifiers. Dark Soul, Blood Fury, and your Trinket, and you can really see some big numbers on Bonds of Fell. Cremation, You could swap this one out. It's kind of personal preference. It pairs pretty well with the flashover and the roaring blaze talent. So if you're playing that, highly recommend cremation. So you get max damage out of it. Um, and then there's a few different like niche builds that you can play. Like not many warlocks know that you can play amplify curse into a mage, a fire mage, and whenever he presses his combustion, all you do is press your amplify curse, curse of weakness, and then he's not able to critically strike. So it's the exact same thing as like a roar sacrifice for a BM hunter or any type of hunter really. It's just it completely counters the combustion go. So like if the combustion goes that scary in the opener, maybe look at playing this and you trinket and amplify curse and get that curse of weakness up, and then the mage is able to crit, is able to get any procs, so they're not going to be able to kill your healer in it. Definitely sometimes whenever Shadow Rift can be really, really good, especially like a Kyrian warrior or something like that, where you know you're not going to be able to pour it out of the spear, so you just slow the warrior, throw down a Shadow Rift whenever he spears you, and then he's poured it out of his own spear. And whenever he charges back to you, then you're able to port, so you're automatically like rotating your mobility, and he's rotating his mobility, so you're able to get maximum distance from that warrior. But there's a few different talents that you can play. Like I've even seen some warlocks playing casting circle, but I'm not a personal fan of it. But to each his own. So that's pretty much the talents that we're going to be playing. The legendaries. I am a lazy person, so I have not grinded revered yet. I'm on the way. I am on the way. I still have the core unity, obviously, the decaying soul satchel because I'm a night fae. So for every target affected by soul rot, it increases my haste and critical strike chance by 5% for 8 seconds. So like if I'm going to use these two right here for an example. So I automatically get 10% haste and 10% crit off of these two dummies. All right. And now I'm also playing the Madness Legendary, and I've had a lot of people ask me like, why am I playing this? Because this with the 4 set, you're able to get some really, really big bangs out of your 4 set. Because like if you were to charge to 8, let's just say charge to 8 stacks, the next chaos bolt that you cast is going to give you that instant cast. So that instant cast is going to be affected by madness. So that instant cast chaos bolt is going to be in the air, it's going to have dark soul, and it's going to have madness. So it's going to be hitting for 45% harder. So you can get some really, really big numbers out of that too. So it just synergizes really well. These two legendaries pretty much going to be baseline. Same thing for Necro. Obviously, this is going to switch for Necro. You're going to get the Decimating Bolt. But, yeah, that's pretty much the go-to. Now, I have a lot of people asking me, you're like, why are you playing with 22% versatility? Aren't you just going to die? So, as a Destro lock, I do have a little bit more tankiness because Destro is the only spec where Mastery actually gives you a little bit of damage reduction and gives you a passive heal. So I am running only 22% versatility with 30% mastery. So I do have a little bit of damage reduction from my mastery also. So it kind of helps that versatility out. And the mastery gives me extra damage on my chaos bolts. So like my ring, you see like a haste mastery ring. It's just from a mythic plus that I got. And there's like a few different like haste mastery, verse mastery on my tier pieces. So it's... versatility is not the biggest thing for Destro because you can actually stack haste mastery and you should be fine. But against certain things, it does. Like versatility, more versatility will help. But yeah, that's pretty much the talents, the legendaries. Let's just do a little quick overview of the conduits. So I did hit 2400, so we do have the 278 conduits. So our conduits, I'm always going to be playing Shade of Terror because I'm going to have emulates on almost every target all the time. So even the healer that I'm trying to CC. So this helps because the Fear is able to withstand 160% more damage. Ashen's Remains baseline. You're never going to take this off. Chaos Bolt deals 8.8% more damage to targets affected by emulate. Now this right here, you can play. Like I see a lot of people playing Soul Eater. See a lot of people playing Combusting Engine. But with Duplicitous Havoc in a rank 278. Havoc transfers 22% more damage. Alright. I can't tell you how many times I've killed people. I've killed healers by having a Havoc on them and them focusing on their DPS. And we literally just Havoc and kill both of them. Because this Havoc, so Havoc normally transfers 60% damage, but with that Conduit, it transfers 82% damage. So that's still it's close to max damage. It's not all the way there. We're still missing 18%, but it's really, really close. Then we're going to play Resolute Barrier because it resets our cooldown of our Unending Resolve, so you have a little bit less than 2-minute Unending Resolve. I like Infernal Brand with the 4-set because it just gives you that extra pad damage. And then I run Demonic Momentum for extra mobility whenever I'm trying to kite certain things. But these are pretty much the conduits that I always go with, considering the fact that I have 278. But you can switch this out for Soul Eater. You can switch this out for Decimating Missile if you're playing Necrolord. Alright? But the biggest tips that I want to give you before we even get into like damage rotation and all this and that, the most important thing that you need to understand for Destro is that you have certain windows to get off damage. Like it can be hard sometimes whenever you're being trained by like a warrior resto shaman or BM hunter resto shaman, or resto shamans aren't too prevalent right now, but like a demon hunter that has just so much mobility, is constantly flying through you. It's so important that you get off your damage in a sequence rather than just trying to burst and just trying to push somebody off of you. So like whenever I say sequence, I mean that like it's better to have a Infernal Stun into a Mortal Coil so that both the targets are locked down. They're not able to interrupt you at all. So you're going to get this damage off 100%. We just have to get it. Alright? So for this video, I'm going to make this. I'm going to make the skull the healer. I hate that it's kind of overlapping. And I'm going to try to explain it to you. So whenever the gates open on an arena, you're not in combat, okay? So you're able to generate shards. And down here I have a tell me when. This is actually my 4-set in action. This is every 10 soul shards spent grants Ritual of Ruin, making your next Chaos Bolt and Rain of Fire consume no soul shard and have no cast time. Alright? So every 10 shards that I spend, I get a free cast Chaos Bolt. Not only do I get a free cast Chaos Bolt, I also get a Blasphemy that is summoned for 8 seconds whenever that Chaos Bolt lands. Alright, now it has a little bit of a travel time because Infernals fall from the sky, so it takes them just a little bit to hit the ground. But once they hit the ground, they not only are summoned, they're also stunning for 2 seconds. So that pairs really, really well with the sequence that I'm about to explain to you. So a lot of times I want to get up to like 8 or 9 stacks before I even try to do like the really, really big damage. So you'll see down here I have this tell me when at the bottom of my screen for the stacks. And in an arena, I mean, this doesn't have to be perfect every single time. You can go with 6, you can go with 8, you can go with 9, like it's whatever. So especially if you're fighting like a rogue mage where they're like staying in stealth, definitely take advantage of start stacking this, because whenever you're not in combat, you automatically gain shards. Okay, so you automatically generate up to 3 shards. So definitely be Rain of Firing. If stuff's staying on a pillar, giving you a little bit of a time to breathe, definitely ramp up before you even engage, because then you're able to engage instantly and get the biggest burst possible in the opener. Alright, so now I have 9 stacks. So I'm going to get my Immolates up. Then I'm going to look for a Havoc into a double coil. And in that double coil, I'm going to be using my 10th shard. So I'm going to get that instant cast Chaos Bolt. So whenever I send my first Chaos Bolt, not only am I going to get the first Chaos Bolt, I'm going to get the instant cast Chaos Bolt right behind it from the 2-set. And then whenever that instant lands, then I'm not only going to get that instant Chaos Bolt, but whenever that instant Chaos Bolt lands, I'm also going to get the Blasphemy that stuns them at the end for 2 seconds. Okay? So it pairs super, super well with the synergy of Destro. So like every single time that you have Mortal Coil, I would suggest, you don't have to every single time, but I highly suggest trying to Soul Rot before you do it. Trying to Soul Rot, trying to Havoc double coil, so that whenever that coil lands, both the healer and the DPS are CC'd. The Chaos Bolt's in the air. Whenever the second one lands, it's going to drop an AoE stun. So afterwards, obviously the healer can interrupt you if the healer's out of CC, if the healer has it. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to explain to you, like, if the healer doesn't have anything, they're in a lot of trouble, because this is a lot of damage. All right. We'll clear out this Mythic Plus window. We do see that we had to top the damage in the Mythic Plus, but Um, Here we go. Just for the sake of the video, let's turn on True VGCD for you guys, just so y'all can see every single global that we do. Let's go ahead and turn this on. And you can see all of my globals over here to... You should be able to see them straight above me. Oh no, I have to fix this. Let me fix this really quick. I can't really remember how to fix this. Alright, so I'll have Truth DC literally rolling straight across the middle of my screen. So you're going to see every single global that I press. Okay? So, for the sake of the video, we're going to have up Emblate on both targets because that's what we would have anyway. Recommend trying to get as many shards as you can before you go. So we're going to get up to 5 shards. You're going to get up to 5 shards. Then we're going to cast a Soul Rot, okay? It is good to make sure that you have at least 1 charge of backdraft for this. So we're going to Soul Rot into a Havoc into a double coil. Alright, and in that double coil, I'm going to press Dark Soul. I'm going to press Chaos Bolt. And at the end of that Mortal Coil, that second Chaos Bolt, the instant cast, is going to be in the air. So that whenever that second Chaos Bolt hits, at the end of the Mortal Coil, the Infernal is going to be summoned from the 4 set. And it's going to stun both of them. Alright. So here we go. This is what we're going to be doing in an arena constantly. This is how you're going to set up properly. So we're gonna Soul Rot into a Havoc, Coil, Dark Soul, Chaos Bolt. Get the instant cast Chaos Bolt, so it stuns at the end, so you're able to get another Chaos Bolt off. And now you're just like raining chaos. So you can even drop Infernals at the end of that Infernal, so you're able to get off another Infernal or another Chaos Bolt. And you can just see how like the damage of the sequence is overwhelming. So like that right there was more than enough to kill somebody. And now we have it again. Like it is outrageous damage that you're able to get off. And right now this is what I'm talking about, the Call of Ruin talent. Like look at these Infernals. They're hitting for 22% harder. This is the Call of Ruin talent. So it's literally just slapping people with this Infernal damage. So like if you go to my actual damage, my Infernals are hitting for 5k. They did 149,000 damage there. So my Chaos Bolts obviously are hitting really, really hard too. But my Infernals really destroy people. So that's pretty much what I want you to understand, that as a Destro lock, like even if you don't have the 4 set, I'll show you exactly how you can do it without the 4 set. The only thing is it's not as smooth. You're not going to have that perfect go every single time as a Destro without the 4 set, because you're going to have to either coil into an Infernal, into a Shadow Fury, and you're going to have to cast and use a little bit more globals, but you're able to do that as well. Like this, it's not like you can't play the game as a Destro. It's just a little harder because you do have to cast a little more with that, okay? So we're going to get back up. Let's go ahead and get back up to 9 shards. We'll show you how to do that. And this is for the people without the, this is for the people maybe that only have the 2 set. Alright? So like, if you're trying to get the... If you're trying to do this without the 4 set, then this is what you want to do. You want to get up your max shards, like I said before. You have 9 stacks from the Impending Ruin. So you're going to Havoc, or you're going to Soul Rot, into a Havoc, into a Shadow Fury, into your massive damage. Okay? So go ahead. We're going to keep up our Immolates. So we're going to cast a Shadow Fury, or we're going to cast a Soul Rot, excuse me. We're going to Dark Soul, Coil, Chaos Bolt, Shadow Fury, instant cast Chaos Bolt, and then we're just going to be raining damage as well. So you have all of that damage, but you always want to make sure like stuff is completely covered every single time you're going as a Destro lock, because you don't want to leave any gaps to where stuff is able to interrupt you. Now obviously a DPS can trinket, obviously a healer can trinket and use a defensive, but as long as you keep doing this over and over and over, you're eventually going to win the game, because eventually they're not going to have anything to answer that Havoc, Mortal Coil, massive wombo combo damage sequence. Okay, but that's pretty much what I wanted to explain to you in this guide. Make sure as a Destro lock you're using your coils, you're using your Infernals, you're using your Shadow Furies. You're not just pressing them on cooldown, you're pressing them to get off a proper sequence. Like that's what I want to get across to you. That's the difference between a good Destro and a bad Destro. Like if you are using your mortar coils properly, every single time you should get off a chaos bolt in your mortar coil. Now maybe you aren't able to get off like the perfect setup, because you might not have Infernals, or you might not have Dark Soul, or so on and so forth. You might miss your Shadow Fury. As long as you're setting up with your double coils, you're gonna eventually overwhelm something. And certain classes are harder, like BM Hunters exist. We know they can feign death every 15 seconds. So it's going to be a little harder versus certain classes. But as long as you're doing this properly, like, and you can work on sequences yourself. Like, you can start the game. You don't have to start with Mortar Coil. You can start with Infernal Stun, or you can start with a Shadow Fury. And, like, you can do different sequences. They don't have to be perfect. Like, if I wanted to start a sequence with Infernals, it's even a little better. I like dropping Infernals, but a lot of people don't understand. Like, so you'll drop Infernals, you'll cast a Chaos Bolt, you'll double coil. Now out of that Infernal stun, you have your big dam. So you're just able to just keep raining damage too. So like your Infernals have a little bit of a delay, so they don't have that instant hit of like a Mortal Coil. But you can start, like, there's different ways that you can start, and you just have to work on what's best for you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Deathstroke guide. If you have any questions, feel free to pop into the stream. We stream at twitch.tv/RoxyBolts. We are 3K Warlock, and we're just here to help people and try to explain stuff to people so that people are able to understand a little better. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop the subscription, hit that subscribe button, and also follow the Twitch, because the Twitch is probably going to be where you learn the most. Highly recommend following the Twitch. But yeah, we'll catch you in the next video. We should be doing an Affliction guide soon, and we'll show you how to get off the biggest damages Affliction as well. But yeah, thank y'all for watching.